And also, they have been non-stop connecting with their classmates, even though they are currently studying online. So I think one of the challenge is for all of the students here is because of the time differences. So we have the students coming from Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. So they have to cope with the time differences. Otherwise, I think all of the support have been given by the universities are really good, and our students are really enjoy studying online. So when we move on to this intake, which is the 2020 and the 2021, so all of the campuses they are fully open, but then all of the people within Ireland are still following like certain SOP and the restrictions. So this is why our staff and the academics has been they have been returning to the campus by rotation, and then in terms of the students, they won't have any issues in terms of attending the tutorials because all of the classes for the tutorials are very small. While for the lectures, they have to go back to the campus to attend lectures by batch. But of course, this will be arranged with the allocation of the timetable they have within their student portal. So there is no issue on that. And also for this year, for all of the incoming international students, they can just walk in to the UCD Health Center to get their vaccination as well. So I have to say that all of the students are now, they are, I would say more than 95% they are fully vaccinated, and everyone is happy on the campus. The campus is really happening at the moment. Yeah, so I think I can pass it on to my other colleagues.
Yes, Liam, please.
Yeah. So similar to Kiko, so UL, well, the whole Irish system basically in 2020 was online teaching, and then in 2021 intake we've returned to on-campus teaching. So all classes basically in UL have returned to on-campus. So face-to-face on-campus teaching. The only exception is for us is large lecture theatres of kind of 300 students or more. So some very large first-year undergrad kind of common entry modules that are shared across multiple programs. So they're basically taught online through Zoom or equivalent. But for pretty much 95% of our classes this year, our teaching is on campus. So all of our faculty are back on campus, and then the student supports are offered on campus. And then we also have like virtual receptions, virtual drop-in sessions, and so on. So our clubs and societies have come back. So sport is back. I'm actually coaching an American football match later today. So our club, American Football Club, is playing against UCD, believe it or not. UL versus UCD later today. So our intervarsities have returned, which is fantastic. But also it's worth noting the kind of travel restrictions and travel supports that are given by the universities. So students coming from Indonesia, traveling into Ireland, this year basically there was no quarantine required or anything like that. Students basically arrived in, they would travel to campus, and the universities would pick them up at the airport, bring them to campus, and they would do kind of 5 days self-isolation at that stage if they hadn't been fully vaccinated. So that was assisted and provided by the university. As Kiko mentioned, there is drop-in centres for vaccinations. If you want to get vaccinated in Ireland, it's kind of just drop in basically. And all healthcare related to COVID, all vaccinations and all that sort of stuff is provided free of charge as well. So we've had very, very positive feedback from international students about the kind of safety measures, about the healthcare, about the kind of the care and attention that the universities have given. Particularly, you know, we understand it's a very, very stressful time to travel. It's stressful to travel anytime and move half around the world. But in the midst of a pandemic, we do understand that it is even more difficult. And we've tried to provide as much kind of support and assistance through that process as well. So that has definitely been appreciated. And we've heard of students in other countries who maybe haven't had the same supports. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for students to come in.
Right, thank you, Liam. Helen, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. And as my colleague Liam and Kiko mentioned, and the pandemic is new and is challenging for every one of us. So we, at the beginning, everybody kind of start to come up with the idea very fast. How can we serve and help and support our students, special internet students? So the first year was 2009 to last year. And then what happened is the whole campus, the whole college, from the top, from the academic, from admin staff, we all put all different ideas together. So we have online support, we have virtual desk, and we have a student peer-to-peer. So which means internet students, they don't feel alone. We have other Irish students or other internet students pair with them. So they have any problem, they can ask, they can talk. So it's not maybe physically you feel you're isolated, but mentally you feel, oh, I always have somebody I can ask, can talk. Sometimes we also put that into same country, so make a student less homesick, so at least they can talk their own language. And from the academic is, of course, and the challenge is about teaching. At that time was everything go online, but it's also interesting is suddenly all our academic staff have a brilliant idea. They can make practical teachings into YouTube or into the online and make so interesting. So which is actually is innovative approach for our traditional kind of physical teaching. And now 2021 September, everybody back to the campus, and suddenly we see the campus full of the life again. And in August, we started the virtual and welcoming orientation and program for our internet students. So we make sure at that time students still need to stay in the accommodation for 2 weeks, 14 days. So we made all this activity during these 2 weeks, including the Master Chef competition, invite students to make the food in front of camera. We have a fantastic dishes. And also we have the karaoke competition. They can sing their own song in different language. It's a great laugh. And we also have a quiz, ask the student about the Irish culture. So sometimes we were amazed how come internet students, they know more than the Irish students they know about the Irish culture. So by doing that, we got a great feedback from our students. They said when they arrived in Ireland and they are not quite sure, but when they, after that settled in the accommodation, suddenly all the program, all the activity, communication, they feel they're so well welcomed, and the language, the feedback we got so positive. So we're very delighted, and because a small community and WIT, the average classroom size is about 20. So we don't need to worry too much. But again, the social distance is still in place, just to make sure everybody is safe in the campus.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for sharing. That's definitely something to look forward to, especially now that the world has started to opening up again. So we've already touched a bit upon what students could do after completed their studies in in Ireland. But let's go back to the very beginning of how would the prospective students prepare for their studies. So do you have any advice for applicants preparing documents to make sure that they have a bigger chance of getting admitted? Maybe Liam, would you like to start?
Yeah, so basically there's kind of fairly straightforward application process to apply to Ireland. Each university normally has like an international admissions team, and usually the kind of required documents for undergraduate are very straightforward. So kind of your high school transcript, a copy of ID, and English language proof, IELTS or TOEFL or something like that if you need it. And usually the applications are made online. For postgraduate, there normally is extra documents that are needed. So the kind of documents that you can prepare in advance of making an application. So usually we look for a one-page personal statement, which is kind of specific to the program that you're applying for. So it's kind of a description of yourself, what your background is, what your interests are, but also specifically maybe what interests you in this course. You know, why you would like to study it, and what your aims are maybe after you graduate. So to kind of show what your overall plan is. And then the other kind of extra documents obviously would be your degree transcript and degree certificate. And then normally 2 letters of recommendation are required as well for postgraduate studies. So usually that would be an academic from your bachelor's degree. So at least 1 letter from them, and then 1 letter from a second academic or professional reference if you have some work experience as well. So they're kind of the usual documentation. Our admissions are normally based, you know, quite significantly on academic grades. The kind of the letters and essays and stuff like that kind of strengthen your application. But unlike the US, we don't make the kind of the decision based on your supporting documentation and extracurricular activity. It's usually based on an academic grade that you have, and then supported by your personal statement and kind of reference letters after that.
All right, thank you. So I wonder if it's going to be a little bit different or more particular when it comes to applying for a more specific institution, like for example, Waterford Institute of Technology. Helen, do you have anything to share with us?
Yeah, sure. And when we receive international student queries or applications, one thing is we always suggest them, strongly recommend that apply early, because we don't want them to miss the deadline. So many times we received the application after the deadline, say, oh, please, I just submit now, but the deadline was last week or even 2 days ago. And the reason we set the deadline is for our administration internal process, because we don't set the deadline. It'll be nightmare, because internally we won't be able to manage that, because the application keep coming and coming. So we have to special the scholarship. Once the student apply for our scholarship, we make sure you can apply when you get conditional offer. You don't have to wait until you have everything, until you have final offer. Final offer, you will get it after you submit the application, maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, depends on the documentation. So number 1 is make sure you apply early. And even you only have maybe the certificate or transcripts, or even you don't have English language like IELTS or TOEFL, but just to apply first. So get into a space. And then the second one is, if you have any query, just simply email to us and ask us. It's simple like that. Don't just figure out and guessing, or maybe I should wait. So don't be shy, just ask. And that's what we are here to support you.
All right. Thank you, Helen. I think this is a very important reminder, because I think a lot of people are used to being last minute people, because they want to, probably it's a good thing because they want to be as prepared as they could be. But on the other hand, when you only have like a couple of days or, like less than a week to go, you'll start freaking out like, oh, what am I going to do now? So that's a very important reminder. Thank you. So other than that, one of the most frequently asked questions for prospective international students is about funding. Can you guys share with us the scholarship opportunities available in your institution and whether or not you are a part of Government of Ireland postgraduate scholarship? We can start with Kiko.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, UCD is on the LPDP list for the food science and the technology areas. So if you are looking at full funded amount. So you can, of course, look up at the LPDP website and to get to learn more about the application process. Of course, the LPDP application will be quite competitive. So other than that, we also offer the Government of Ireland scholarship, and we have two different scholarship schemes that are also offered by the university itself. So the first is the university's the Students International Scholarship. So we call it as partial scholarship, and it's ranged from 2,000 to 10,000 euros, depending on your grade, as well as the type of the courses that you are applying to. So for this partial scholarship, it will be automatically assessed and then issued on your offer letter when we are entering the decision to your application. So on top of that, you can also apply to our Global Excellence Scholarships, covering eight of the awards for the 50% scholarship and 2 awards for the 100% tuition fee waiver scholarship for the students coming from Southeast Asia region. So Southeast Asia region, namely that's for Indonesian students, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Philippines, and that's all. Yeah. So usually postgrad the Global Excellence scholarships for the postgrad level will be very competitive. Most of the students, they might be expected to present close to first equivalence grades, but of course, your core curriculum performance as well as your work experience will be taken into account as well. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing, Kiko. Now let's hear from Helen. Hi, Helen.
Yeah, and WIT also part of the Government of Ireland scholarship scheme. And again, so students have to apply independently, not just through WIT office, international office. And the second one, beside that, we also have international student scholarship, and which means undergraduate level students can get 20% of their original tuition fees for any undergraduate program. For postgraduate program, scholarship is 2,000 euro off for the postgraduate tuition fees. So again, the student can, I highly encourage students to apply. Don't think, oh, maybe I'm not qualified and let somebody else to apply. No. It's open to everybody. You apply first. Of course, how do you get the scholarship? Of course, based on your score and your talent. Maybe some students extremely talented in arts, music, sports, and it's over your not just focus on academics. So and again, students have to apply early, and then don't be shy. It's open for everyone.
Okay, thank you. Liam, would you share with us as well?
Yeah, so we do take part in the Government of Ireland scholarship. So pretty much every public university in Ireland basically takes part in that. There's normally 60 full scholarships given to international students, and they get basically their tuition fees plus their living expenses paid under that scheme. So I think last year we had three students from Indonesia actually through the Government of Ireland scholarship, which is fantastic and really amazing students. And then from the university, we do have a wide range of scholarships as well. So we have a merit-based scholarship called the UL Global Scholarship, and that's for undergraduate or postgraduate students. And it's based on students' grades basically from their high school or their bachelor's degree. So if students have so from SMA 3, for example, if they have an overall score of 8.0, they can qualify for our scholarship. So it's quite a low bar. You don't have to be 9.9 or anything like that to get on. So we do kind of offer it to kind of good academic achievers, and it's about 10 to 15% of tuition fees. We do also then have a wide range of kind of faculty specific scholarships. So we have things like our Stepping Stone Scholarship, which is for music and dance students. They're full scholarships. We have full scholarships for sports scholarships, and then we have sizable scholarships across all of our faculties. So for School of Business, School of Science and Engineering, up to the value of €10,000 as well. So the scholarship that we give, I suppose, when you apply is the UL Global Scholarship. So you get that kind of, if your grades are good, when you're assessed for admission, you're assessed for scholarship at the same time. And then the rest of the scholarships, including the Government of Ireland scholarship, the student must make an application for. So once you have an offer, start to do your research, find out the schemes that you can get, and apply for everything. As Helen says, if you're not in, you can't win. So the more scholarships that you get, obviously the lower the cost of education for you. So don't feel like you're imposter syndrome or anything like that. I think if you have an offer from the university, you're more than welcome to apply for the Government of Ireland and the internal scholarships within the universities.
All right, thank you very much. Imposter syndrome is very important to highlight as well, especially when you're already starting out, but you already question yourself, would everything that I have actually be enough? But just like Helen said, if you're not in, you cannot win. So before we conclude the session, I would like to give the speakers the opportunity to promote their institutions. We will start with University College Dublin, and then University of Limerick and Waterford Institute of Technology. You have 3 minutes each.
Right, thanks. I think I have covered a lot of the important points about UCD earlier, but just wanted to re-highlight again that UCD is ranked #1 in Ireland for the graduate employability ranking by the QS since the 2018 until now. So as one of the Europe's leading research-intensive universities, we are currently ranked at the top 200 in the world. So within the top 200 in the world, and also we have about 38 subjects. They are ranked at top 200. So if you have any interest in terms of learning more about the top 200 subjects, the top 200 ranked subjects, do come to my booth to speak with me. And also just now I have mentioned that we also offer a range of scholarships to all of the international students. So just come to me and to learn more about UCD. Thanks.
All right, thank you. I'm your turn, please.
Yeah, so UL it's a really kind of interesting university. It has quite strong links actually with Indonesia. So we currently have around 50 Indonesian students on campus. So about 30 through the new ISMA program, which is kind of Indonesian International Student Mobility. So we were just celebrating National Batik Day on campus a couple of weeks back. We are home to the Irish Javanese Gamelan Orchestra. So we have a full gamelan on campus in our School of Performing Arts. So you can hear the gamelan as you walk past the school some days. We also are on the Dikti scholarship program. So we have 19 PhD students from Indonesia who are faculty in Indonesian universities. They're doing their PhDs in Limerick. And there's kind of a very vibrant Indonesian community and a very strong branch of PPI Irlandia. So the PhD students in particular, they're almost like extra parents basically for the students that come to Limerick. They'll cook nasi goreng. They'll make sure students have food when they arrive. They'll do kind of Indonesian kind of cultural sessions and so on. We have halal food on campus. We have a prayer room on campus. There's a mosque just off campus. So there's quite a vibrant community of Islamic students from all over the world as well, which is very, very important. And then, it has all the kind of the stuff I mentioned around work placement, scholarships and stuff like that as well. So it's a really nice place to study, and particularly for Indonesian students, there's kind of not a massive community, but a nice sized community where you can feel at home.
All right, thank you very much. That really sounds like a nourishment for for not only your intellect, but also for your soul. So Helen, would you like to share more about Waterford University of Technology with us?
Yeah, and the first is location and location. So Waterford is located in the southeast coast area. As you can see in my background, the beautiful beach, beautiful sea, the mountains, And Waterford is small. Because it's small and it's more close to the heart, so many international students regard Waterford as a home away from home. And also we know Waterford is the 5th big city, and still offering the big city what they have. We have a theater festival, we have all the gallery and all the museum. And so there's so many opportunities, so many things, activity our students can do. So they will never get bored, say, oh, I have nothing to do besides the shopping, you know. We know Asian students and they love the food, especially the homemade food. So Waterford, we have a few Asian stores and supermarket and selling the Asian food. So students don't have to travel and go online. They can easily just 10 minutes walking distance and to get their favorite home and hometown food. And also Waterford, it's small city, so the cost of living will be much lower. And also the great advantage, there's no traffic. So everywhere you can go just by foot. And if you're too lazy from your campus accommodation and student accommodation to the campus, you're too lazy, you don't want to work for 20 minutes, and you still can get a free shuttle bus when in the morning, when in the evening. So beside that, we also have fantastic student support like a buddy system. We pair our students with the other Irish students. So make sure every other Irish students to learn something about international culture, and international students can learn or maybe even just to improve their English as well. And the program we have is very practical, and also we have multidisciplines program. A lot of students just thinking technology, just thinking only science, only computing, only engineering. But actually, WIT is merging with other institution technology. So next year, we will turn into a technological university for Southeast. So that by name, you already understand where our program is already beyond just technology. We have arts, we have music, we have law, and we have country arts, hospitality. We have to have hospitality program and country arts because Waterford is a tourist city. And that is why Waterford WIT was voted and the Institute of Technology of the Year in 2021.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so once more, thank you, Ms. Kiko Huey, Mr. Liam Ryan, and Ms. Helen Kang Griffith for sharing with us today, and for the audience joining us via YouTube live stream. It has been a very informative and encouraging session for us all to learn more about studying in Ireland. I would also like to remind everyone that other than the talk show sessions we are having today, EHEF Indonesia 2021 also have an ongoing virtual fair. So I would like to invite all of you to also have a look around the virtual booths to directly interact with the representatives of each institutions, including the ones that we have in the sessions. You can also have or access more information about the institutions speaking today in today's session in the booth. So thank you very much once again, and see you in the next session. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.